Good evening, everyone. So many young people here, I'm delighted. If I knew like this, I would run here. As you all know, we had an amazing Shabbaton. Everyone gets better than the other one. It's interesting. More than 500 people. I think I gave about 10 or 11 lectures this Shabbat. Friday and Shabbat, and now another one somewhere. And there's this one, I think, is the last one. I was told an hour ago that the topic here is I ask by text. I don't even know who answered me. I ask Eli, where is Eli? You answer me? What did you say? They speak about the situation with the Arabs, what's going on now. Okay, so let's talk about that. Unless you prefer something else. Any other topic you want?
Go with the flow.
Marriage.
Marriage?
It's going to be too long.
I tell you something about marriage. I have to tell you something about marriage. You speak about it non-stop. Everyone loves about it. Everyone asks Shlom Bayit, marriage, Shlom Bayit, and the marriage situation gets worse every week. Every time. All right. So,
I just wanted to say that tonight, Rabbi Zamir Cohen from Idabut is talking about the situation with the Arabs. So you might want to talk about something else or the same thing as
different people. No, but he doesn't speak here.
No.
He speaks somewhere else. Oh, what does it help us now? Thank you. You scared me good now. All right, so since we got the Torah more than 3,300 years ago, we see that the main enemy of the Jewish nation, apparently, besides that there's many different nations, but we find that the children of Ishmael are the main and the last enemy before Mashiach would come. There's different exiles that the Jews were kicked out of Israel by the Babylonians, by the Greeks, by the Persians, by the Romans, 4 different galuyot. Twice Bet HaMikdash was destroyed. Once it was almost destroyed by the Greeks. And now there's no Bet HaMikdash. And the Zohar, the Kabbalah, 2,000 years ago, said that before the Jews will return back to the land, עתידים בני ישמעאל לעכב מבני ישראל בשובם למולדת. Who will go to try to prevent from the Jewish people to return back to their land? It will be the Arabs. People in the beginning of the previous century, the 20th century, like the year 1912, 1918, they were smiling when the rabbis used to teach Kabbalah and Zohar, when the rabbis in Yerushalayim, the Bukharian rabbis in the Bukharian neighborhood, you know, those years, Musayov, Borochov, all these shows that were opening up in Yerushalayim back then, 100 years ago. When they used to teach this, people used to smile. Why? You live with the Arabs, you live here. Muhammad lives right here. Ahmed over there, Yosef is over there, Yitzhak is over there, Mustafa is over there, and that's it. He has his donkey, Kif Halak, Mustafa, Ahlan Sahlan. That's how it used to be. Of course, we knew that they're anti-Semite. It's nothing... but it was similar to how it used to be in Turkey before the incident with the boat. You know they hate you, but when you go to the hotels, they treat you nice, they give you coffee as in Istanbul. I have to go there again soon. I was scheduled to arrive there a week after the boat. Imagine. So, over there, you know, you have the shul. The shul has bodyguards with guns around. Walls. You walk in one door, you wait until it gets locked, then they open the second door. You walk in, then they open a third door. And the ceiling, there's a garden right here. You see, there's like open, there's no, and they cover it with thick glass to cover that in case they want to throw a bomb from above the wall, they won't be able to. It's like a shield. But it's interesting, they have very large, very high trees that goes very, very high, I don't know, 50, 60 feet. And the trees goes through the glass. They made a special circle around that the tree can go up. So I asked the guy there, why he didn't cut the trees on that side? Why he had to go around? He said, you know what happens to you in Istanbul if you cut an ancient tree? It's the end of your life. To kill people, no problems. To cut a tree, 20 years in prison. So the rabbis used to smile. They used to say, what the Arabs? They live with us. We share the same backyard. What power the Arabs have to prevent Jews from coming to Israel? Everything is swamps anyway. Nobody can live here anyway. People are dying from malaria anyway. So what is the Arabs going to do? Anyway, there's nothing to do here. It's all swamps, mosquitoes. Mosquito bite a person, a week later he's dead. Because it's swamps everywhere. That's how it was. In Yerushalayim, some places, there was already some neighborhoods. You know, it reminds me, Yosef and Ahmed, they were neighbors. And they had a goose. And they both had goose, you know, they walked from one side to another, and chickens, and roosters. And they had an argument about the goose, who it belongs to. Ahmed said, it's my goose. Yosef said, no, it's mine. Well, you don't have your ring around it. It's mine. No, ma, the ring maybe fell. It's mine. They're arguing like this. So Yosef said to Ahmed, listen, I have an idea. We're going to kick each other from behind. Whoever kicks stronger, harder, will get the goose. The Arab said, okay, he's thinking I'm much stronger than this Yahud. So he said, since it's my idea, Yosef say, you bend down, and I kick, and then it's your turn. So the Arab say, fair. He bent down like this. Ahmed is waiting for the kick. The Jew ran all the way across the street. He kicked him 10 feet in the air. He goes like this. Okay, now it's your turn. So Yosef told him, take the goose. How do you think 1.8 billion cannot defeat 6 million? Already 100 years. It has to be, well, of course, there's Hashem. You know the head of the Hamas, what he wrote in a war. Did you see that in my Facebook page? He wrote, the American reporter asked him, what kind of Hamas soldiers you are? All your trainings and millions and rockets, and you shot 4,500 rockets and not one of them hit? So this Arab told him, do you think we don't know how to shoot? In training we hit everything. We have computer, we have a screen, we target, we put the X on a place, it has to hit. But the God loved these Jews, he moves the missiles away. This was his answer. I was smiling reading that. I said, what a fool. He said to you, God loved the Jews, he saved them from our rockets, but they're not going to stop shooting rockets. If you have a kid in a neighborhood which you don't like, and you constantly throw things at him, because you don't know he's the son of the king, what would happen in a minute you find out that he's the son of the king and the king loves him very much? What would happen to you? First of all, you stop immediately. Then you will find a way how to make it up to him that he will be your best friend. No? Because you want to be loved by the king. Cannot be that somebody goes against the son of the king and then he comes to the king and pray to him, help us. Doesn't make sense. You want to be righteous, Gentile? Rule number one for the Goyim, you have to be in love with the nation of Israel. Otherwise you can never be righteous. Because even if you keep the 7 laws, Even if you don't steal, you don't murder, you know, you're decent, you're honest, you're modest, all the laws of the Goyim. You're not worshipping any idol, but you're an anti-Semite. You constantly wish for the destruction of the Jews, or you're voting always against Israel on the internet. It's very common. How do you think God is looking at you in a time when you die and you come to your trial? You think He's going to be impressed by the fact that you were keeping the laws when you went against the children 40, 50 years of your life? They should have known it. So how come they don't know? You may come and say, well, they're all dumb. They're not getting the point. It cannot be. Because even if the nation is all dumb, 1% of them are smart. Cannot say everyone is dumb. 1% from 2 billion, do you know how much it is? Hundreds of millions. There should have been at least 100 million Arabs should have got the point and make propaganda to stop. But you don't hear one. There's no lefty, liberal Arabs. You're liberal, the birds would eat your skin tomorrow morning. There's no such thing by them to give a speech for the Jews, unless if you went to London and you hide in a basement for 25 years with bodyguards after that. There's no such thing. No one over there has permission to speak against the authorities, against the government. There's no freedom of speech for traders. No, there's no traders by them. You betray the nation, even if the nation is wrong, even if the Jews are right, doesn't matter. You betrayed us, you have no right to live. That's how it goes by them. Not by us. They right away vote you to be the prime minister. Yes? So let's go back to our topic. So the Zohar said that the Ishmaelim, they will do everything to prevent from the Jews to return back to the Holy Land. After 2,000 years of exile, that's what will happen. And as soon as Ben Gurion announced in the United Nations that I'm declaring here now the rights of the Jewish nation to their land according to the Bible, he was holding Sefer Torah in his hands. Baruch Hashem, he was lucky that none of the Arabs got up and said to him, Mr. Ben Gurion, you gave a very impressive speech, but I have only one question to you. You're holding the book of God. We all respect it. Even in our Quran, it speaks about this book. But may I ask you one question? Do you keep one word of this book? Not two, one. You don't even keep one word here. Nothing. We are more Jewish than you. We don't eat pork, you do. We don't charge interest from our brothers, you do. We believe in God and pray 5 times to Him, you don't. You know what an embarrassment it would be? Maybe there will not be Israel. 5-minute speech by some Mustafa would make the whole world vote against us. Same way, it would take me 5 minutes to convince the whole world to leave Israel alone, and the Jewish land belongs only to Israel, and no one would ever bother us after that. How would I do it? How? The whole world is against us. Israel invests billions of dollars to try to minimize the propaganda and the anti-Semitism against Israel, and the situation is only getting worse every day. It never gets better. How all of a sudden someone would come and in 5-10 minutes the problem will be over? What is this, hocus pocus? The answer is, I will do something that nobody ever did before. I will go to the United Nations and I say, give me 5 minutes to talk and then do whatever you want. 5 minutes silence, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, that's it. They all get curious. Let him talk, no, let's see what he says. I will open the Quran, I would highlight before all the sources as I show in one of my lectures, and I would say, dear Muslims, all of you now listening to me all over the world, my tooth almost broke when I say dear Muslims. All right, no. So I said to them, without the dear, say, cousins, I have one question for you. Who wrote this book? They all see the Quran words, the Arabic. They would scream, Allah. I say, very good. So, same Allah wrote also the Torah. I say, yes. Ibrahim, Sarah, Yaqub, Yosef, they all came from the Torah, no? Okay. Yes, no problem. I say, do you Arabs have to listen to the word of Allah? They would scream, of course, we die for him. Do all of you have to listen to the words of Muhammad? Of course, we die for him. I say, okay, so let's read what Muhammad and Allah said. I would begin to read 12, 15 verses. They would kill themselves right away, all of them. They'll go crazy, they scream, shut it! They break the camera. Don't let anyone listen to it. Why? I would read to them that it says in the Quran that the land belongs to Israel. God took the Jews out of Egypt and he promised them to bring them to the land, and he gave them the land, and they are the chosen people. And Muhammad called us the nation of the book. Am HaSefer. In Israel, in the university, the professor teach, אנחנו עם הספר. You ask the professor, Mr. Itzkovich, can you tell me please, how do you know we are Am HaSefer? I don't know really. Maybe they spoke about Bialik, or the Yitzhak Rabin book. What Sefer exactly they talking about? He said, I guess the Tanakh. He said, and who called us Am HaSefer? Muhammad. Very nice. Supposedly the prophet of all Arabs gave us a beautiful title. The nation that brought civilization and law and divine information to this world. Who called us this? The leader of all Arabs. Plus, there's other things. It's also bad things against the Jews in the Quran. Don't get me wrong. It said that one day you have to find every Jew behind the tree and kill him, and until you don't kill them, they're not going to have their salvation. Yes. But the fact that he brings verses from the Torah in the Quran that shows that God helped the Jews and he loved them and he took them to Egypt, and this is the blessed nation, and he gave them the promised land, and it's in the Quran, that's it. That will be the end of the argument. Every time they would come and say, East Jerusalem, West Jerusalem, Haifa, Jaffa, you play the video, play. Finish, don't answer, play, listen again, until you get it. And of course it won't happen. Maybe one of you have connection, you cut it and send it to the United Nations. United Nations is the Babylonian tower of today's generation. All they do over there is thinking how to make God angry. You don't believe me? Review all the laws that passed in the last 30 years. Find me one law that they passed that is complying with the laws of God in the Torah. One law, find me. First of all, 90% of their laws is automatically against the Jews in Israel, always against Israel. But even the other laws, whatever their laws are, never something to say, you know what? As the people that were created by God and we represent all the nations, it's about something we making this world a holier place. Instead, every other state becomes Sodom and Gomorrah. Gay marriage, all kinds of things. In Florida, they made a law, you're not allowed to feed the homeless people. If you feed them, you can get arrested and you get $500 fine. Did you ever hear such thing? People are starving to death, all these rich people in $10 million homes, and they say you're not allowed to feed them. What's the logic behind it? What's the logic behind it?
Depopulation.
No. That's about cancer and cure for cancer. That's what they do over there. They don't want to find cure because they want people to go. But we're not talking about this. We're talking now about they don't want the homeless to come to their prestige neighborhoods. If you give them, you know, unlike the animals also come. If you give the animals something, right away, the squirrel. One time I gave them food, every morning they stand online there by my deck. Not only that, if we are late 5 minutes, they go on the roof of the shed in the backyard, waiting to see my wife in the laundry room in the second floor to know that in 5 minutes after she give the kids clothes to wear, that's where their breakfast will be served. That's how clever they are. One time you give them, that's it. You're making a contract with the devil. They all became like this, you know. So the Zohar said like this: Oy lo leIsrael al hayom shebo nimol Ishmael. Translation: Oy to the nation of Israel for that day that Ishmael was circumcised. What's the connection? Many goyim are circumcised now. What's the... That Avraham Avinu circumcised Ishmael when he was 13 years old, the day that Ishmael, as an adult, could have got married at age 13. Ask your grandmothers, they'll tell you what age they got married. When Ishmael was a man already, he could have said to his father, what is this? Leave me alone, man. You want to cut a piece of my body? If he comes to him, Avraham, and say, hey, Mustafa, come here. I want to cut your ear. Give me your ear, cut his ear. He would agree? He won't agree. If he tells him anything else, he won't agree. All of a sudden, he say, let me circumcise you, he agree. Now you have to also know that when you circumcise a baby, it's 100 times easier than to circumcise a 13 years old. It's a much, much, much harder circumcision, with much more pain. We do it when we convert the goyim sometimes. It's not easy. So the point is, the Zohar says, because of the day that Ishmael got circumcised, they will stay a pin in the neck of the Jewish nation until Mashiach would come. In Israel, there's no way to get rid of them. We cannot make them leave. Never. Why? Because the Torah says that for every mitzvah there is a specific reward. Kabed et avicha ve'et imecha le'man ya'arichun yamecha. Respect your parents, you live long life here and in the next life. Fine. Or you give lots of charity, I will make you rich. You give 10% maaser from your net income, I guarantee in your lifetime that to make you rich. The Torah was speaking about some of the rewards. What's the reward for circumcision? The right to sit and have possession on the Holy Land. That's that. But the Zohar says something very interesting. The Zohar says, same way the circumcision of Ishmael is incomplete, because in circumcision you have two steps. One is the milah, and then priya. When a baby, the orla, it's very soft. Once you cut it, you have to bring it down, and that's called priya. When the kid is 13, there's no way to do priya, so it's 50% of the mitzvah, not full mitzvah. Same way, their mitzvah is incomplete, their possession in Israel, it's incomplete, it's temporary, and will be dismissed when the Mashiach comes, and some other things that will happen to them. But the Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, 500 years ago, he lived in Tzfat, the generation of the Ari Akadot, one of the biggest Mekubalim ever, the Kabbalist. He said that the angel of Ishmael, every nation has a minister in Shamayim, like a lawyer. That's their representative. He comes to the court of heaven and he say to Hashem, dear God, why don't you give the children of Ishmael what you give the children of Israel? They do the same thing. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was forced to agree to give them a piece of land, but because of the Priya, it will be temporary, which means all these politics and meetings, this is all waste of time. To get them out of Israel, nobody can do until Mashiach comes. So what can we do? We have to focus on how to self-defense ourselves. And the government is doing a very poor job doing it, because they have strong pressure from the world. Every little thing they do, the whole world is jumping and sanction and threats. And slowly, slowly, we lose another street and another street, and people in Israel are afraid to walk in the street. You know what's happening in Israel the last 2 weeks? People are afraid to walk in the street. Everyone who walks in the street turns around 10 times a minute. That's how people walk. People who stand in a bus stop, they made them special fence from cement, very thick, that in case someone wants to hit them with a car, this protect them. Imagine what an embarrassment. Stand in a bus stop and they build a fence thick like this from stone that the car cannot hit you. In your own country, you cannot live, you're afraid. Inside the shul, you're not safe. Inside the yeshiva, you're not safe. On the street, you're not safe. In your homes, you're not safe. How many times they penetrate homes and slaughter the children in bed? Technically now, the way the situation is, soon Sukkot gonna come, you're not gonna be able to sleep in a sukkah according to the halacha in Israel. You won't be able to sleep in a sukkah because it's such a risk. Sukkah? What's sukkah for him? He comes in, finished. And they're all over, and they're looking to kill. They're not. We have to understand one thing. When the Zohar was written, do you know where the Arabs were? There was no Islam yet. They didn't have the trillions of dollars that they have right now. They didn't have Kuwait, Bahrain, all these empire countries with so much wealth. They didn't have what they have today. The Arab lives in deserts, different parts of the desert, and they're selling oil in barrels in a very primitive way. How did the Zohar could predict 2,000 years ago that when the Jews returned back to the land, all the world would not do anything? The ones who would come to fight them will be the Arabs. And as soon as Ben Gurion announced the declaration of the States of Israel, right away the war started in Israel. Everywhere, all the neighbors who used to smile and be polite came after us to slaughter us. 1947, 1948, this is the months there. And there was a big war, and many Jews were getting killed. A fight in Israel, and the British were there. The British, of course, took their side, as usual. Until today, what do you think BBC is? 99% Arab, 1% Israel. That's it. Nothing to expect from them. But that's how it was. And against all odds, HaKadosh Baruch Hu helped us, and here we are today. 67 years later, we have Baruch Hashem a place. Millions of Jews live there. But we have now a very serious threat. The fact that you have and you build yourself a beautiful home doesn't mean you're going to stay there forever. Why? How many people build in LA amazing mansions in expensive neighborhood, 10 million, 15 million, and they lost it, or they ended up getting kicked out or whatever? How many? So many people lost everything. All the time they put into the decoration, importing marble, making this, inventing this, that, all kinds of specialists. A year later, foreclosure, lost everything. Or some of them went to jail. There's no guarantee. What you have right now, don't take it for granted. The Torah says, כי לא תימכר הארץ לצמיתות, כי לי הארץ. When I give you the land of Israel, which is my yard, ארץ אשר עיני השם אלוקיך בה מראשית השנה ועד אחרית השנה. The Torah said this is a land that the eyes of your God is focusing on it from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. But everybody knows that the eyes of Hashem is focusing on everywhere in the universe. There's not 1 inch in the universe that the eyes of Hashem is not supervising. Why the Torah emphasizes and specifically this is the land that the eyes of your God is in there all the time? That's the most precious thing to me in this world. And I gave it to you, but not forever. You're only there when you keep the covenant with me. You listen to me. You keep Shabbat. You eat kosher. You live according to the Torah. You make yeshivot. You teach your children. You put them in yeshivot. The women dress modest. If not, what does the Torah say? Clearly, Torah, not me. I did not write the Torah. I hope you understand that, right? I didn't write it. And the last I remember, Hashem never called me to an urgent meeting to ask my opinion. You know, what do you think I should do to Jews who don't listen to me? I tell you, Hashem, leave them alone. You know, they have a lot of problems. They can't think. I try to get us out of it. But apparently, I didn't have a say. So now, since I did not have a say, nobody asked my opinion, now I have to read to you what the Torah says. No? Fair enough, no? hiding parts of the Torah, there's no bigger crime than that. I just said in my other lecture now in Irvine, I said, some Jewish speakers, they make a huge damage to the Jewish nation. Huge. It's better they'll be mute and never say one word of Torah than to give them permission to talk for 1 minute. There's nobody in the world make a bigger damage to the Jewish nation than those speakers who call themselves rabbis. Why? They actually changed the entire Torah to something else. They never speak, 1 year he's speaking in his shul, not one time anyone from his congregation heard what's going to be the end of Mechalel Shabbat. Everyone drives the car, going shopping, coming to shul with a car, celebrating, smoking outside, telephone ring in the middle of the davening. As long as he gets his salary and people kiss his hand, he's happy. Do you know a bigger criminal than him? He represents God and make everyone lose their eternity because of his selfishness and his stupidity. Who gave you permission to modify the Torah? You want to be the representative of God? You must be loyal to your job. You cannot modify the Torah. We are not Reform. The Reform made a new Torah and they marry men with men and Jews with Christians and people with dogs. And they make bar mitzvah to a dog. Go to YouTube and put bar mitzvah to a dog. And see what the Reform Jews do in the world. Thank you. That's what they do. The Reforms are proud that they marry Jews with non-Jews, even though the Torah says that the children will not be Jewish. But they don't care. They make a new Torah. They do whatever they want. They don't keep one mitzvah, it's needless to say. Not one mitzvah they don't keep. So it's very interesting that some rabbis that call themselves Orthodox or Modern Orthodox, whatever they call, Kiruv rabbis, I don't know how they have the nerve to even call themselves Kiruv rabbis. Kiruv rabbis mean to take a Jew, first to prove to him that there is a God. Second, to prove to him that God made the world and he put us here for a reason. Third, to prove to the people that the purpose of life and how to live and what to do, it's in the book of God called Torah. Torah in Hebrew means instructions. Fourth, you have to teach the people that living according to the Torah, there's no more beautiful way to be successful in life, to raise a family, to be happy, to get rid of depression and all kinds of agony and pain and frustration. The Torah, it's the greatest pill. You don't need Prozac, you don't need psychiatrists, none of it. You read Torah, you're the happiest person, you fulfill, you don't care if you're rich, if you're poor, even if you're not so healthy, this is all secondary. You feel the connection, your soul feel the light of God constantly in your life, and there's nobody happier than you. And if you live against the Torah, there's nobody more miserable than you in the whole world. That's the job of a rabbi, to teach the people there is either white or there is black. There's one more thing you have to tell the people, because some people are stubborn. Some people are stubborn. They know that the Torah say that there is righteous people and wicked people. They read the Torah. They read it many times in shul. They come to shul every Shabbat. They hear that Hashem say tzaddik, rasha, share to the world to come to the tzaddik, no share to the world to come to the rasha, execution, stoning, choking, burning, punishment, war, sicknesses. It's all in the Torah. You cannot delete it. We're not God. We have no permission to move an inch from the Torah, nothing. We can only read what Hashem said to the people to read. That's it. There's no permission. All these people who say, no, speak soft, speak nice, make everyone happy, only look at the positive. Where is it going to lead us when we only talk about the positive? No, you tell me. Where is it going to lead us? Now 1% of us would observe the mitzvot if you only give them compliments for being sinners. If a person is Mechalel Shabbat, and every time he comes to shul with a car and the rabbis put him on a stage and give him the best aliyah because he writes a nice check, and he tells him what a tzaddik you are, Moshe the tzaddik, Hashem yishmereu v'yechayeu, thanks to him we have this beautiful congregation, and his wife Christine, please Christine, welcome to the table. You're laughing. It happens every day, every corner of the world. You know that? Every corner of the world it happens. They just made a big noise by the Vishnitz community. Big noise. For 3-4 years there was a big war. There used to be a billionaire that married a Goya. He gave many millions of dollars to the Vishnitz Hasidut over the years. He built them buildings in Bnei Brak. He gave them millions of dollars. Every time they needed a big check, they came to him. When he died, they decided not to bury him in a Jewish cemetery, even though he bought a grave next to the Rabbi. He can afford it. You know, in Israel they have say, Ba'al ha'me'ah u Ba'al ha'de'ah. You own the money, you own the opinion also with it. So he bought a grave right next to the Rabbi. They sold him the cemetery, sold him the grave. But they knew that he's married to Christine. But they sold him the grave anyway. And they didn't say anything. They didn't want to upset him because eventually he will not give the money. When he died, they didn't bury him over there. He owns the grave, but the Torah said that someone as Mechalel Shabbat, or someone that did what he did, you cannot bury him in a Jewish cemetery. You have to bury them outside. You have to make a wall and bury Mechalel Shabbat in a different cemetery. At least it can be the same cemetery, but you must make a wall. You cannot bury Mechalel Shabbat with Shomrei Shabbat. It's against the Torah. That's the law in Shulchan Aruch. I didn't write it. So they didn't let him get buried there. 4 years his family was fighting. You have to be fair. You took his money, now you must bury him over there. If you wouldn't take his money because he was married to Christine, fine. At least you're honest. You cannot take the good and prevent the bad. No. The bad come with the good. So in the end they broke. They didn't want a big problem. They moved him quietly. After many years he was buried somewhere. They moved his body quietly, nobody knew, to his grave, because he owned the grave. If you sold it to him, it's him. You cannot take it away. It's stealing. But this is just to show you where we're standing right now. So the point is, there's no such thing telling the people only the beautiful part of the Torah. Of course, very important. You want people to know that Hashem loved the Jewish people. Of course. You want to know that we are the chosen people if we listen to Hashem. If we don't listen to Hashem, we're not chosen and know nothing. Read in the Torah. Im telchu bechukotay u'shmartem mitzvotay v'yitem li am segula. If you keep my mitzvot, you will be the chosen special nation. Meaning, if you don't keep my mitzvot, there's no difference between you and Muhammad and Chris. No difference. Don't kid yourself. One guy came to me. He said, we can argue about this, we can argue about JC, we can argue about that, but the bottom line, you are the chosen people and we are not. And I say to him, you're wrong. It's not true. What do you mean? I'm giving you a compliment. I say, I don't need a compliment that is a lie. I only want the compliment if that's what God really said. If it's a fake compliment, keep it for yourself. He didn't understand what's going on. I said to him, read in the Torah, what does it say? You're only the chosen kids, the children of God, if you keep Shabbat. If you don't keep Shabbat, you don't even belong to my nation. That's what the Torah says 12 times. I'm not interested in you. What do you think? You're doing me a favor? You're a Jew? Without you, I'm not perfect. Mechalel Shabbat. What does it say in the Torah? Arehu kegoy lechol davar. 100% like a goy. Touch the wine, has to go to the garbage. Die, don't bury him in a Jewish cemetery. He makes kiddush, you have to do kiddush again. He was a witness in a Jewish court, the testimony is automatically cancelled. Should I continue? He slaughtered the cow, glad kosher, with great knife. No one is allowed to eat from it. He cooked food, no one is allowed to eat this food. He borrowed money from a Jew, you're allowed to charge him interest, even though it's one of the biggest sins in Judaism. From one Jew to charge interest from another Jew, he does not resurrect in the resurrection of the dead. But if that Jew was Mechalel Shabbat, it's counted like a goy. And the Torah says, Vela goy tashich. You're allowed to take from the goy. Look at Yalkut Yosef, Ilchot Ribit, Halacha, hey. Rav Ovadia Yosef. He lived in our time. He said, מותר להלוות למחלל שבת בפרהסיה ולקחת ממנו ריבית. To take interest from him, have nothing to worry about. It's counted like you took ribit from Chris or from Ahmed or whatever the case is. It's horrible. When I heard that for the first time, I was holding my tears. I said, where did we grow up? A Jewish country, the state of Israel, the Holy Land. And if I would not hear it from this rabbi who spoke to me, I never even knew that these things exist. 90% of the Jews in Israel never heard once in their life what I just told you. I look at your faces, half of you are in complete shock, which means you also never heard it. The question is, why you didn't hear it? The answer is because the ones who teach you is afraid to tell you the truth, for different reasons. He has his reasons. But I'm telling you now, don't ever be afraid to learn the truth. Better to know the truth that you have a chance one day to be fully righteous. If you never learn the truth, how are you going to be righteous? If you don't go to medical school to learn how to operate, can you save life? You can't. You have to put effort, you have to work very hard, and it costs a lot of money, and in the end you can save people. But you have to start saving yourself. If you don't learn seriously, you're not going to be able to do. So the Torah says, I am the master of the land. Ki li haaretz. If you listen to me, you sit there. If you don't listen to me, ve'ikiya haaretz etchem. The Holy Land will vomit you out to the exile, because you don't have the merit to live there. And if you live there, read Parashat Bechukotai. What does it say, Parashat Bechukotai? In Bechukotai telechu, if you follow my laws, ושמרתם את מצוותיי ועשיתם אותם, you always say you have to do it, not to be religious in your heart. Some people say, Rabbi, I'm very traditional. I believe in everything you say. I actually all day listen to you. What about Shabbat? Come on. You don't really expect me. I'm an academic Jew. It doesn't work this way. What do you mean? What does it mean academic, not academic, smart, poor, rich? The Torah has any differences between one Jew to another? Some people, they tell me, I'm going to make you a wonderful lecture. I say, okay, where? They give me a name of a place. I say, what's going to be so wonderful about it? We're inviting academic people. People who go, they have degrees, they learn in college. I say to him, for me, a guy that came from Iran, doesn't know how to read and write in English, Bukhara, Russia, professor, doctor, computer genius, autistic kid, everyone is a Jew for me, no difference. Because it's the same thing for Hashem. Do you think Hashem cares if he's in university or he came from the market? What is this? This is a soul, this is a soul, this is all one nation. Who cares about this? So the situation with the Arabs are not going to be better because the Israeli army will find us a solution. No, absolutely not. If people know the history of the Israeli army, they have to be honest that since the 6-day war, every war followed, we perform lower and lower and lower. It's a fact. First, Yom Kippur War. We almost got destroyed. 2-3 more hours, there would not be Israel left. Moshe Dayan say, put the atomic bombs on the airplanes. On the Phantoms, they already had atomic bombs. Another 3-4 hours, maybe it will be the end of the world. Moshe Dayan started to cry. I wasn't a rabbi. And this was his words in a cabinet meeting. Chorban Bait Shlishi. The destruction of the third temple. Our end arrived. Put Tamut Nafshim Aravim. We're going to get killed, we'll take them all with us. That was another 3-4 hours until the miracle began. Out of nowhere, the Arabs stopped. Everyone was in shul. Back then, 40 years ago, every secular person was in Yom Kippur in a shul. Not like today watching videos at home. 40 years ago, people were in shul. I was a kid, I remember this. No one in the street, no one was driving in Israel, not one car. And there's no media, no Facebook, no internet, no cell phone, text messages to 3 million people in a minute. No telephones. Half of the people didn't have telephone. I remember my grandmother had a telephone because she lost a son in a war. He was 17 years old. He fought for Israel in 1947 with Menachem Begin. So the government gave her a chupar, a candy, rotary phone. Everyone in the neighborhood didn't have a phone. Her house became a bus stop. Everyone comes to make calls. Some people used to pay, some people used to cheat her. An old woman, widow, lost her son. She doesn't know. You know how the people used to be. Old-fashioned, they don't know. End of the month, thousands of shekel bill. My father used to ask her, who do you call? It's not me. The people come, they use the phone. There's no phone. So I started to drive on the street with a megaphone. Everyone quickly go to their units. I remember as a kid, they took me, come you. I was 6 years old. They gave me paint, blue paint. You see all the cars here? Paint the lights in the front. Paint it. Why? If people forget and they turn the lights on, that the Arab planes will not bomb us. That's how bad it was. I even remember the faces of my mother and father. How serious the situation was. Hours before annihilation, God forbid. And Hashem made us a huge miracle. All of a sudden, one Arab screamed, "Everybody stop!" They were going towards Tel Aviv. Everybody stop! Nobody drive! All the tanks, stop immediately! So they stopped. So they said, why, after the war, they asked one Egyptian prisoner, why did you stop? He said, we didn't think that the Israeli army is so dumb that they did not leave any soldiers in Yom Kippur in the borders, no, nothing. One left. So we thought they probably letting us in, and as soon as we go in, they ambush us from around and they butcher us inside. They were counting in the Israeli intelligence. HaKadosh Baruch Hu confused them and they stopped. Otherwise, who knows where we would be.
There's another thing. I work with a guy who right now published an article about that war, and he says, and there's evidence that some Egyptians says that they didn't go through because huge light from the sky blinded them, the whole unit, and they knew it was the God of the Jews, and they stopped right then and there. They got really scared.
There's a lot of interesting stories. I only speak about what I know for sure it's true. Some people, people like to add. I don't know, maybe it's true. But I already know, based on what I told you, it's fact. Everybody knows it. It's no way to deny it, that that's the way it was. But I want to tell you something. These Arabs, that they asked him, why did you stop? He told the story. No, there's another Israeli soldier, his name was Rami. Rami was an artist, paint pictures, oil pictures. So Rami was the prisoner in Egypt. And they're very cruel. They torture you in such a way, Hashem Yerachem, to fall in their hands. So they were torturing him physically, mentally, all kinds of horrible things. So one day, they left the door open. They pretend they forgot the door. He looks outside, you see, nobody's there. So he walks. Oh, you see now a window, like here. Let me break out and see. Oh, the window open. He comes out, he sees grass. And one fence, all you have to do, jump around the fence, and there's an open space, you run. I can escape from here. He runs, he goes, he looks, he comes to them, see, they come around. You think we're foolish, huh? Now you try to escape, now you see what we're going to do to you. They bring him back for days of torture. So he wrote in the interview, listen to what he said. He said, the Arab that investigated me, said, because you tried to escape, we now decided that we're going to cut one of your arms. But we'll give you the right to choose which arm. So this Rami, Israeli secular soldier, was thinking to himself, I'm an artist. I draw painting. That's what I love to do. So he told them, cut my left arm, because I want my right arm. So the Arab told him, you kalb, you dog. But God told you that you have to put this tefillin on your left hand every day. You don't care? You care about your stupid pictures? That's why we will destroy you all. And they started to give him, you kill your prophets, you this. The Hamas, they wrote their declaration and constitution. It's online. I have it in my laptop. Sheikh Yassin Imach Shimo, that the Israeli Air Force blew his head off with a missile at 5 a.m. in Israel. When he was coming out from his wheelchair. Where was he coming out at 5 a.m.? Do you know where? He came out from the mosque after he finished Shachrit. Baruch She'amar, 18, everything. He came out 5 a.m. after he finished Shachrit. You come to the teenagers today, Itzik, Moshe, Minyan at 8. Don't come 9:30. Please, 8 o'clock. Rabbi, It's very hard, 8 o'clock. Make it 10. Over there it's 10. We come 10:30. It's very good. 5 a.m. this murderer came out of mosque when they killed him. So he wrote in a declaration of the Hamas, listen to these words. The Jewish people had everything. God chose them. He gave them everything. He took them out. He gave them things. And what did they do in return? Betrayed him again and again and again. That's why we are forming this organization called Hamas, and we're gonna teach the Jews a lesson and never leave them alone because they betrayed God. What caused what we have today in Israel? What the Torah says in Parashat Bechukotai. You don't listen to me? The enemies that live among you would rise higher and higher, and you will sink lower and lower. והגוי אשר הגר בקרבך יעלה מעלה מעלה, ואתה תרד מטה מטה. והפקדתי עליכם בעלה. Everyone would live in panic. 3,300 years ago it written. Everyone today lives in panic. ונאספתם אל עריכם. You will gather towards the center of Israel and lose another part and another part. You shrink. That's exactly what happened. One time in New York, I used to give lectures in a house of one Israeli couple who became religious for my CDs, my video cassette, and they decided to make a weekly lecture in their home in Yonkers, New York. One time I came, there was one Israeli, what we call in Israel, chachmolog, wise guy, chachmolog. You know, so he sits over there, everything I say challenge, everything I say disprove, okay. Then I said, the Torah is the only book in history that have plenty of prophecies in it. As a matter of fact, in any chapter in the Torah that you will open randomly, I will show you prophecies over there. He heard that. Really? Moshe, bring the Torah, bring. I want to see if it's true. I said, I have to admit today, Et Chatai mazkir ani hayom, that my heart dropped. I said, wow, imagine if I made a mistake now. Today, I'm extremely, extremely careful, Baruch Hashem. I did not catch myself making one mistake in the last 10 years, even once, Baruch Hashem. Very, extremely careful. I say, I have tons of proofs, tons of legit evidence. Why do I need to take a risk with a questionable proof that people would criticize? Stick to what you have solid, nobody has answers against. But back then, 17, 18 years ago, before I had gray hair, you know, my head was a little bit more empty than today. So I was brave, very brave. Sometimes being brave, it's a sign of foolishness. So I said that, and he got up. Moshe, bring the Chumash, bring the Torah, I want to see if it's true. So, right away I started to think, I cannot say in front of him Shir LaMa'alot. Shir LaMa'alot, Sinai Le'arim, going like this. Hashem, you cannot embarrass me in front of everyone here. Here comes the Torah. Opened it up. Here. My hand, I got it. Im bechukotai telechu. I started to shoot like a machine gun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 page. 10 prophecies in 1 page. So I got the point. After that, he never barked again. Silent in the corner, like.
Did the Shuvah?
The Gemara says.
Mary Christine.
The Gemara says, רשעים על פתחה של גיהנום אינם שווים בתשובה. The wicked people, not always, sometimes, even then Hashem say to him, now you're going to pay for all the tragedies and crime you committed against innocent people and against me. What are they saying? Please God, you're right, I'm sorry, I'm such a fool, I don't know what got through my head, I know you're right, give me one last chance, I promise you. No, that's not what they say. They say, no, I wasn't right, I wasn't wrong. No, it can't be. Can't be that these black hats, they were right and I was wrong. It cannot be. That's what the Gemara says. You want a proof for that? What did we read yesterday in a shul? Which parasha? Vayetze. What does it say in Vayetze? Yaakov is running away from who? Before? Lavan. Lavan Arami means Naval Aramai, if you play with the letters. Crook. His name already shows that he's a crook. Lavan is chasing him. Hashem comes to Lavan and he said to him, I'm warning you, don't touch Yaakov, don't even think to do anything bad against him. Don't say anything against him, I'm warning you. So he continued to chase Yaakov, and he finally found him, and what did he say to Yaakov? Do you leave me, you don't say goodbye, you didn't give me a chance to make you a party, you know, like the hypocrite. And then he got to the point. What was on his mind? Where is my idols? You stole my God. You fool. Just an hour ago, the creator of the world came to you and spoke to you to save this tzaddik. Where is my idol? Who stole it? He checked in his thing. Imagine the embarrassment. You leave your father-in-law after 20 years, you were a slave in his business. 20 years. He fooled you and tricked you and cut you and paid you less and stole your money. After 20 years you had it, you packed your wife, the children, and you move out. He comes to your new home and begins to check in your bag, in your car, in your trunk. What an embarrassment. And that's after God warned him, don't even talk to him, don't go. What's wrong with him? He didn't get the point that he lived in a lie with all these idols. It's very hard to change what you used to. Habits. That's it. You got used to it. קשה לשנות הרגלים. Very difficult to change bad habits. How many people continue to smoke knowing it's killer, it's a poison? They know they'll pay the price. They're not fool. I saw thousands of proofs that cigarettes kill. But it's hard to stop. It's addiction. You got used to it already. I want you to know one thing. There are two things that we have to focus on. Each one of you, Baruch Hashem, a lot of people came here. Each one of you, some more religious, some less. But the fact that you came here tonight, there's one thing I have no doubt, that you want to be close to Hashem. You want to be righteous. Otherwise, there are much more things to do tonight than to come to listen to a speaker about words of Torah. You know that. Sport, movies, this, parties, bar mitzvah. There's plenty of things to do. If a person drives and finds parking and there's no parking and he comes and he sits for 2 hours and he hears my screams, that means he's interested to find out what's the right thing to do. Now, if the speaker would come and not tell you what to say, could it be a bigger tragedy than that? You come finally to the best professor in the world, you're finally sitting face to face with him, and he doesn't tell you what needs to be changed, and chas v'shalom, something happened later. How can he call himself a doctor? Imagine if the doctor, instead of sending a person to MRI, tell him, don't worry about the pain. The pain is nothing. It comes and go. 2 Advil. Goodbye. No MRI, no checking, no asking questions. No, nothing. Where is the pain? When did it start? Did you pick up something heavy? Did it happen before? He has to investigate it. No, this is the way it happened, this, that, and begins to, the doctor is not a fool. Or it could be cancer, God forbid. All the symptoms that he described. What's a normal doctor does right away? Even to 1 to 1,000 chance, MRI immediately, CAT scan, all these things. Let's detect the problem before it will be too late. If he gives him Advil, do you find any bigger criminal than him? When will he remember that he was supposed to send him to check when he will be dead, or when it's going to be already 1 week before he dies and the cancer ate him? Chas v'shalom. The hashgacha of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in each one of us cannot be ignored by us. If you have a diary, you're right. How many miracles happen to you? How many miracles that if you one day review your diary, you would say, how did Hashem did all these things for me? Who am I that He moved the world for me? I want to tell you a story. One time I had a trip to London, about a year ago. Not even, I think. I was scheduled to speak in 4 different shuls, major shuls in London, all of them famous names. And there's a group of enemies of God and my enemies, obviously, that constantly were calling and trying to cancel my event over there. They don't like that I speak against the homosexuality scenes. They don't like that I speak about the liberal traders who helped the Arabs to destroy us. They don't like that I said that Mechalel Shabbat, what the Torah says about him. They basically don't like anything I said that they don't like to hear. So obviously they target me, as they wrote in their page. He became the most influential speaker in the world today. We must do everything to focus only on him. Just on him, and that's what happened. And one shul's over there canceled my event.
Wow.
They told me, we're very sorry, nothing personal. We don't think it would benefit the congregation right now with all this noise. Okay. In the end, רבות מחשבות בלב איש ועצת השם היא תקום. With all this negative noise, out of nowhere, within a day, I had 10 different lectures. In 3 days that I was there, 10 lectures, running from one to another. And also the place that canceled realized they made a mistake. They called me on a short notice to come on Sunday. They made breakfast. I gave a very beautiful lecture, and the son of the rabbi wrote me a $500 check, or sterling, or euro, whatever it was, and he said, I want to sponsor the CDs you gave here tonight. מאז יצא מתוק, but that's not what I'm about to tell you now. Now we get to the punchline. After a week of fighting, the people, usually who suffers? The people who organize the lecture, not the speaker. Speakers speak non-stop, deal, one less, it's no big deal. The people who organize, for them it's a heartbreaking thing. After all the efforts, now the rabbi of the shul or the board, they tell them we have to cancel it. So guess what happened? After all this noise, Baruch Hashem, everything worked out beautiful. I'm on my way to JFK to fly to London. I called the guy in London. I say to him, Ofer, did you verify that my flight leaves on time? I was so busy, I didn't even have time to confirm the flight. He said to me, oh, actually, it's good you call. Actually, it's good you called. They cancel your flight. I said to him, when did you think to tell me they canceled my flight? He said, no, don't worry. They put you on an earlier flight. Now I'm late, rush hour, traffic. I have 2 huge suitcases full of thousands of CDs, plus my personal bag. It's not easy. I'm running, hot, this, driving. I say, half an hour earlier? No chance I make it. As it is, I don't make it. So usually I leave the car in a long-term parking. I say to myself, no choice, I have to park it right across the street, pay 3 times more for 5 days, whatever the case is. No problem, there's no time. You gotta get to the flight. I park the car across the street, I run inside. I walk inside, I see 40 people waiting online to check in. I have to check in suitcase. I say, wow, the flight is in less than half an hour. It's waiting right here, it's 45 minutes. And plus security, no chance to make it. I'm thinking to myself, you know how all the thoughts are running quick, one after the other, like machine gun. Ta, 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 ta. Wow, after all these efforts, how much they did, how much they bought there and that. Now I'm not gonna show up. I have to get to London Friday. No time to get another flight now. I say, שיר למעלות. מאין יבוא עזרי. Before I even finish the first sentence. Rabbi! Policeman, blue uniform, shield, Italian American name, mustache, earring. Rabbi! How are you doing? Going. How are you? Like I found my brother. How are you? Where are you heading? I say to London, but the way it looks now, I'm going to miss my flight. Why? Look at the line. My flight is in half an hour. What's going to be now? When I'm going to leave $4,000 CDs here in the terminal and run to security without the suitcase? What's the point? Don't worry, Rabbi. Follow me. No line, no nothing. He takes me to the teller, make him please a pass. 1 minute. I'm waiting for you by the security. When you finish here, come here, I'm waiting right there. So, okay, finish there, I go over there, you open the rope, I don't go for the machines בכלל. Can have 50 kilo cocaine. No security. You open the door like Prime Minister. It took me there 5 minutes from the minute I entered the terminal. I was sitting, talking on the phone, laughing. How I have to wait for the flight. And I say to this policeman, give me, I want to write your name. I wanted to take a picture with him, but you know, everyone looks, take a picture with the policeman, with the yarmulke. The next thing they tell me, come, you're under arrest, you Israeli Mossad. Plus I say to him, I'm going to start my lecture in London with special gratitude to you. And I did. And then he told me one more sentence. He said, you know what, you're really lucky? Tomorrow it's my last day here. I moved to Atlanta. הרבה שלוחים למקום. This guy קנה את עולמו. What did he do between you and I? He didn't give money, he didn't work hard. He made few stamps, tack, tick, tack. Already got the luckiest guy in history. Why? 10 lectures over there. So many Baalei Tshuva became from that trip, calling me, sending me emails. I sent boxes of CDs from there. And they're calling me now to come back again to London. It says, all is married. Shaliach, Hashem made that guy. And how did the guy know me? He listens to me online. How did he know who I am? Rabbi. 5,000 people a minute goes with yarmulke and JFK. You understand the Hashgacha of Hashem? How can a person be blind? The problem is that after a week we forget this. And then when the business went from 1 million to 800,000, we begin to cry. My business is slow. Do something. Why am I doing wrong? The competition killing me. He's not saying I don't keep Shabbat. I am not honest in a business. Did you ever hear someone that his parnasa went down? That he comes to the rabbi and say, Rabbi, I'm not keeping Shabbat. I'm stealing in a business. I'm tricking the customers. I don't have emunah in Hashem. So the business went down. Help me. No. Rabbi, I don't know what's going on. Rabbi, look at me. I'm going to shul. I'm doing the few things that he does or not. Clean himself from any guilt. And then, Rabbi, you have to do something. Today, there is a special industry in Israel. It's called the industry of the babot. Did you hear about it or not? Baba 1, Baba 2. Why they have so much business? Because people don't want to do real tshuva. They don't want to really fix themselves. So they want to go to this Kabbalist, put mint under your kippah before you go to sleep. This is a special name. Make sure it's always in your pocket. Give a nice check over here and you're good. Don't worry. I say, Rabbi said not to worry. I say worry 10 times more. You know why? If you have to go to Hashem to ask for mercy to help you, and you go to a crook, a faker, an imitator, how the king will feel? Replace me with this Rasha? If you're the prime minister, and you have one guy, cleaning guy, that clean your shoes, and somebody runs and hug him, wow, your majesty, please come here, in front of you. Look at him, what do you know, man? That's the shoe shine here. It's not the prime minister. You think he's going to help you instead of coming to me? How is he going to help you? Shortcuts? Not in our school. Let's go for some questions and answers. That we should answer you some questions in case you have. If not, we'll start, we finish the introduction, we move to the lecture, yeah.
Rabbi says, like, tell people the truth. But if you know that someone's not going to listen, are you supposed to tell them?
Depend. First of all, in the beginning, you don't know if he's going to listen or not. After a few times, the question is, if you know that you say to someone to correct his way, and he won't listen, you still have the obligation to tell him. The Gemara say, the same way there's mitzvah to say something that is heard, the same way there's mitzvah not to say something that will not be heard. However, that's a thin line to know what's going to be heard or not. Sometimes it's not going to be heard right now, but in a month it will. One time, there was a guy in Monsey, now he moved to Israel. He comes to me and he says, I want to take you to a group of Israeli people. I just sold my car to one of them and I went to give him the title. I went into the apartment, I saw 8 Israeli guys all laying on mattresses over there, doing nothing from their life. I want you to come, give them a shiur. Come with me, spontaneously. I said, okay. We went there the next day. I brought my transparencies, this, many years ago. We began a lecture. There's now one guy. He looks the most normal. Everybody has hair, this, earrings, all kinds of necklaces. He looks normal, short hair, but he is not interested to join us. We sit all around the table, and he's sitting in the kitchen on a rail. There's a rail on the kitchen, like a window. He's sitting over there. So I said, well, what's his name? He said, Eli. Tell him to come. Eli, boy, come, join us. No. Leave me alone. I know all this. They have to hear it. I already know all of it. And this guy that took me there, he said, don't waste time on him. It's a lost case. So I said to him, my heart doesn't leave me. I said to him, no, come, join us. And they tell him, no, come here. No, he refused to come. And this guy said, trust me, I know this guy. It's a waste of time. Don't waste energy on him. Focus on this guy. Look, they're interested. Who became religious first? 1 month later, I go to pray mincha. I see this guy in Satmer, לא פחות ולא יותר, with all the ultra Hasidic, with his jeans, praying mincha. One day, we opened the shul, Faradi Minyan, and Mr. Eli decided to make aliyah to Israel. So he comes to me, he says, I want to donate all my books to the shul. To sell them, you're not allowed. To take them to Israel, I can't. It's going to cost me a fortune with all these boxes. I donate it to the shul. And then in Israel, I'll buy new books. Say, well, very good, the shul needs books, bring it. He left the boxes, went to Israel. I opened up the Gemarot. This was many years later, after that shiur. I open his Gemarot, I say to myself, cannot be. What, that's his Gemarot? It's a big Chacham. Look what he writes on the side. It's mamash big Chacham, I say. I was shocked to see the comments that he made on the Gemarot. I say, in a few years he became like that. One day, I get someone comes, you have to see this book, it's amazing. It got all the blessing of Rav Ovadia and all the rabbis in Israel, it's amazing. Gives me a book, I open it up, I see Rabbi Eli such and such.
Wow.
I open it and I tell him, leave him alone, he's a lost case. You never know. But however, this is what the Chazal say. If the person become arrogant, come and tell him, here, take CDs, listen about Shabbat. I'm not interested, enough. No problem, no fight. Please listen, believe me, you're not going to regret it. If it's not good, I'll make it up to you. You beg him. In the end, he say, you know what, just let me listen to it, that you leave me alone. Already, once you're going to hear it, that's it, he's in. Because remember, the mind of a human being is, once the information goes in, it can never goes out. Do you understand? Even if he forgets, it's recorded in the subconscious. Any peep that you ever heard in your history of all your reincarnation is recorded in your brain. Everything, in a soul. Which means, now every word I told you, no matter how you try to forget it, you can never forget it. It's a one-way street, the brain. Nothing comes out. Everything goes in and recorded inside. So once you hear about Shabbat, no matter how much he's going to try to ignore it, it will always remain. Tomorrow he has problems, he say, oh, Hashem is punishing me. Oh, now I remember what that rabbi said a month ago. He can never go out. So all you really have to do is to convince this sinner to listen to it once. I always tell parents that they beg their teenagers, sons, to listen to Torah CDs and they're not interested. They're busy with their iPhones. So I said, he doesn't want to listen. He won't listen. Rabbi, don't waste your money. Chaval ala CDs. They won't listen. I say to him, kids love money. Come and tell him, I'll pay you for listening. How much? Tell him $20 an hour. Sit and listen. He wants to make $100, right? Extra from what you give him anyway. Bribe him to listen. And it works. I tell you what, one day, someone knocked on my door. Someone knocks on my door, my son opened the door, he comes to me, he says, Abba, tzedakah. Abba, someone is collecting charity. So I said, okay. I go from the other room, thank you. I go from the other room, I see a guy, long beard, very religious look. As soon as I say I'm about to take money out of my pocket, he grabbed my hands, begins to kiss my hand, begin to kiss my hand, he's crying, hugging me. I said, oh, relax, what happened? He said, you don't know me? I'm the one who spoke to you on the phone 3 weeks ago about my son. Once he told me his name, I said, what happened? He told me, remember I told you that my son is not interested in anything. He used to be religious in yeshiva. He left the Torah. He became a criminal. He went with a gun and robbed the place. And now all of a sudden, drugs and court and juvenile court. Big problems this father has, misken. He said to me, now he's living in my basement, he's not Shomer Shabbat, he does laundry, in the middle of Shabbat I hear the laundry machine, I hear music. He calls me to ask me, should I throw him out of the house because all the other children will become like him soon? Or should I have mercy on him and keep him anyways? One of the hardest questions in life. What should you do? Should we get rid of the rotten apple for everyone else become rotten or no? I said to him, listen, let's not jump to conclusion. I want you to let him listen to my CDs. He laughed. He said, I wish. He's allergic to rabbis. He went to yeshivot. He cannot even hear the word rabbi or yeshivot or religion. There's no way to talk to him. Lost from completely. I'm only begging that he won't, chas v'shalom, end up in the worst situation in crime. Not even talking about right now to make him Baal Tshuva. It's a dream. So I'm thinking to myself, to ask him to watch Torah lecture, the father just said it's not possible. So I say, I have an idea. I say, I had a debate with this Christian priest. I had a debate. People are getting very curious, Christianity versus Judaism. Give it to him. He say, even that he won't listen. I say, put it on the table. I'm sending you the CDs. Put it on the table and leave. Believe me, out of curiosity, you would want to watch it. Okay, send it to me. And I forgot about it. I have cases like this every 2 minutes. So I sent it to him. And that's it. Now he comes 3 weeks later. And he tells me what happened. So I gave it to him. I said to him, listen, you have to watch it. It's amazing. This rabbi against the priest about Christianity. It's the best show you ever saw. That's what he told him. The boy said, okay, leave it here. That was the end of it. So after a day, the next night, you hear laughing. Guys are laughing in the basement. People are laughing. He says, who's laughing down there? He comes, I see him with all his friends, like this. Look. He said, Abba, that's amazing. I said, right away, I took the other CD. I gave him Torah and Science. I watched Torah and Science. He said, I want you to speak to him right now. Call him on the phone. The boy became an angel. Made tshuva. He said, I want to buy tefillin. Doesn't have tefillin. Got him tefillin. I said, you don't have to pay for the tefillin. I'm so honored for what happened here. But it's okay, gift. No. I save little by little and I pay every month, send $100 until I finish to pay for the tefillin. Then he came to the lecture. I'm thinking to myself, how this guy was a criminal. What a soul he has. What amazing. Look at him, how he is, how he sits in a shiur Torah, how he enjoys. And this is it. This is what's going on today in the world. A lot of these wonderful souls were mistreated. And we lost them, Hashem Yirachem. Yes?
So, a lot of truths
basically, sun rises in the east, sets in the west. 2 plus 2 is 4. You learn it once, you don't forget it. But why is it that when it comes to the Torah, there it's like, you should not forget the truth, because one would argue that if you constantly have to indoctrinate yourself with something,
right,
maybe it's not.
Well, everything you and I know, most of what we know, we seem to forget on a daily basis. We know a lot of things, but we ignore it. Everyone knows he has to put seatbelt, but many people, that's what it means, Yishamer Lecha. Be very careful not to ignore what you learn. Not to forget in a modern Hebrew means that you don't even remember that it ever happened. When the Torah says Yishamer Lecha pen tishkach, means that you will ignore it. Ignore it, that's what it means. Don't dare to ignore my instructions, God said to the Jewish nation. Now we're about to move to the next part of the night, as I just got a note to announce it. So I would like to give you a 5-minute speech before the next speaker is about to rise. I came here as an invitation of an organization called Hidabrut. I'm sure all of you heard about it. And if you didn't, now it's the time to hear about it. Hidabrut organization started 9 years ago. Recently they made a television channel in Israel after many attempts in the past to make a channel that would teach Torah around the clock 6 days a week. Finally, with Hashem's help, they were able to open the channel. And they show many rabbis over there. And many of the people, when they play with the remote control, accidentally or not, when they see somebody religious on a screen, they wait 5 minutes. What this guy has to sell me? And sometimes very interesting. 2, 3 continue to flip over. 1 get hooked up. Another 2, 3, another one get hooked up. Eventually, one thing leads to another. He gets here and he gets there and he gets there. And slowly, people are coming closer to Judaism. As you know, the words of the Zohar in Parashat Truma, the Zohar said that the biggest mitzvah that a person can do is saving Jewish souls, bringing them closer to Avinu Shebashamayim. It's the highest mitzvah with the highest profit. Why? Because every mitzvah that you do in your life, you finish the mitzvah, it's over. One day you come to Shamayim and Hashem pays you for your reward. But there's one mitzvah that what we call in English multi-level marketing. What does it mean, multi-level marketing? You continue to make residual income of all the people who join the pyramid under you. That's what it means to save soul, kiruv. In Hebrew there's a word for that, kiruv. My organization called Rabbi Mizrachi Kiruv Organization. And Baruch Hashem, we give also 20,000 CDs approximately every month, and every month a little more, and it keeps growing. Plus the website and the apps, we spread millions of hours of Torah also. So we need a lot of those organizations. Hidabrut is specialized mainly in Israel, but from time to time they make seminars out of Israel, like here, Brazil, Europe, South America, different countries. And they have very good speakers, and perhaps maybe the biggest speaker in Kiruv in Israel is Rabbi Zamir Cohen, which started this organization. And this organization, every organization has a huge overhead. Building, studios, secretary, editors, all kinds of expenses, driver, airline tickets, salaries to all kinds of workers, I don't have to tell you how expensive it is to have a television channel. And plus, it's not a commercial. They cannot sell commercials. Cannot make it business. That's the condition. You want to open a spiritual channel in condition that you don't make business out of it. Not allowed to sell commercials. Therefore, it's all based on donations. One of the reasons that they made this trip here in New York, in LA, is because the organization constantly on a need month by month to survive. 2, 3 months, chas v'shalom, no donations come in or not enough comes in, everything chas v'shalom can collapse. But in the meantime, it keeps growing and growing and growing, which means the overhead is also growing. It's not, you raise X amount of money. It's never gonna stay like that. There's always new people. Few more things the organization did. In the beginning, it was only for Torah and Kiruv. But then later on, they started to see there's need for other things. So they began to help poor people. And then now they're helping our Jewish ladies, Jewish girls, who are marrying Arabs in Israel. 37,000 Jewish girls married to Arabs in Israel, according to Channel 2. Check. They check the case. They claim 37,000. We know it's a lot worse, unfortunately. Each one of them give birth to about 10 Jews. They're Jewish according to the Torah, but many of them are terrorists. They join the Hamas. And yes, the Jews join the terrorists, the jihad, the Hamad. That's what happened in Israel. They give them some drugs. They don't tell them that they're Jewish. What's your name? Rafi. 2 weeks later, they find out it's Rafik. What's your name? Yossi. 2 weeks later, it's Yusuf. What's your name? Avi. 2 weeks later, it's Ibrahim. That's what happened. By the time it's too late already, and some of these girls come from lower class of the society. They don't have warm homes. Finally, somebody gives them attention. Unbelievable what's going on. And now, the organization they got a property from the mayor of one of the cities, and they're building a building that these girls can come and live there. Because it's one thing to save them from the Arab terrorists, but where are you going to put them with their children? Somebody has to give them a place to sleep. So this last trip, these last few days, from what I understood from the seminar, they are focusing now on selling square meter in the building. They're selling, whoever donates to them, they make the building. The building is a facility for those women to come to stay there, because just to save them, the next day they go back. They have nowhere to live. Their parents don't want them back. Their parents don't want them back. I'm done with her. I don't want to hear from her. She went to become Muslim and she married this Ahmed, and now she has these kids that are speaking Arabic. They don't know one word in Hebrew. And you want to bring her to my house? I die before I take her back. And basically, they are stuck between heaven and earth. Their parents don't want them back. Nobody else wants to bring them in. So after a while, they go back there. And they break their bones, and they abuse them, and they lock them for years in a room. That's what's happening. It's very sad. If Mashiach comes, then you won't need to donate. But until he would come, all the Kiruv organization, all the CDs activity, all the videos, all the websites, that's what we have to focus on. A friend of mine went to the biggest rabbi in the world, Rav Chaim Kanievsky. He told him that I said that it's more urgent and higher cause to give money to Kiruv than even to yeshivot to teach Torah, which everybody knows. Yeshiv Torah, it's the highest. Limud Torah keneged kulam. It's always been like that for thousands of years. What's my calculation? Very simple. You take a Chiloni, you make him religious. What does he do? Begin to learn Torah. He comes to shul, he listens to the rabbi, he gets some books, he begins to learn. Some of them goes to yeshivot. So of course, you're going to get more Torah than just paying those who learn. You're going to get new people into the cycle, which makes it much better. So he had a doubt about what I say, because he always helped yeshivot, this guy. He's a little wealthy, this guy, in Israel. He went to Rav Chaim Kanievsky. Here, it's recorded. I'm not going to lie in front of a camera, I promise you this. He went to Rav Chaim Kanievsky, and he told him, Rabbi, what should I do? This guy, Mizrachi, is doing Kiruv. I know what he does. I've been in America a few times. Should I give to Kiruv, or should I give to the yeshivot I used to give? He told him to Kiruv. I told him, why I didn't record it? He went back to record it. Rav Chaim Kanievsky's daughter passed away. He was sitting Shiva that week. Soon I'm going to have it on tape, Bezrat Hashem, if the Satan will allow. Why? The Satan is fighting against. So like I said, this is an organization who have, like we say in Israel, has Kabbalot. What does it mean, has Kabbalot? There are so many people that you ask them, what? the reason that you are religious today, he'll tell you the website of Hidabrut, or the television channel of Hidabrut, or the seminars of Hidabrut. We had, now I told you, for those of you who came to the hotel, you know what I'm talking about. We had more than 500 people. And many of them were not Shomer Shabbat. I did not stop to work for 1 minute. I went to sleep at 4 o'clock after speaking to the last person, right? Here, he was there, he can testify. Right? Not 1 second to breathe I had. I did not eat today breakfast until 4. Because it was so hectic, so many people. But the results are that so many people shook hands and said, we're accepting Shabbat. We're accepting this, we're accepting that. That's the point. And now it's an opportunity, like the Zohar says, if a person would know how much he will earn to save one Jewish soul, he would run after that soul all his life. 70 years. Finally, he made one Jew Shomer Shabbat. It was already worth it. It was already worth it. Yeah. I have to say it again, or it's recorded? So now, before we finish, there's a scratch on the record. I'll tell you one joke, even though we spoke some hard words today here. I hope and wish that each one of you is responsible and honest enough to know that I have only one intention, is to wake all of us up, include myself, to get closer to Hashem, to try to do more, to get more inspired. Not the point to scare us. We are heading to days, according to the prophecy, read Zechariah 14, I didn't even read it to you. It's critical days. The war between Ishmael to Israel is critical. The Zohar says when Israel is high, Ishmael is down. When Israel goes down, Ishmael automatically goes up. Cannot be both goes up, cannot be both goes down. We go high, they get dismissed. We lowered, they go higher. It's a spiritual world. It's not a political world. Nobody's fighting for land. They have 99.8% of the Middle East in their hand already. No one can be such a greedy person. No one. If you have 99.8% of the city, you would leave somebody 0.2%. You won't go to a bloodshed and war 3,000 years. You won't. The war is that Hashem is telling us, you're not going to listen to me. You annul my Torah. I send you the animals to come and eat you alive. But you listen to me? Why? Now you think, why? Such a punishment? No. It's a wake-up call. When does the person does more tshuva? When he sits in a beautiful Bentley and billions are coming to his account and he's healthy and everyone bows down to him and everyone gives him respect and he doesn't have what to worry about? Or when he feels the sword on his neck, there's a trial, he has 2 weeks to prepare, Chas v'Shalom can be death sentence. When? Rav Shach say in Yeshivat Ponovich, he spoke about Imach Shimo Adolf Eichmann, that was facing an execution in Israel after his trial. Rav Shach say, come and see the difference between a Jewish soul to an Amalek monster. They asked Eichmann before he died, what would be your last request? So he say, I want a glass of red wine, a good steak, and a German newspaper. In 2 hours they're going to hang him. He's worried about the steak. Rav Shach say, a Jew. They say, Elul. 30 days before Rosh Hashanah Yom Adin, half of the Jews in the shul faint. And at the time of Rav Shach, that's how it used to be. Now people are busy texting. But 30, 40 years ago when he gave that speech, if they announced, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow the month of Elul begin, half of the people fall and faint. Wow, 30 days to the judgment day, and I'm not ready. Where will I start to do tshuva before Hashem decide my verdict for eternity? What is it, a joke? So Rav Shach say he wants a steak So after they hung him, they gave it to a Yemenite secular policeman. Temani. Hagar his name. Hagar. They say to Hagar, Hagar, you were chosen to kill this monster murderer, mass murderer, Adolf Eichmann, Yimach Shimo v'zichro. So Hagar said, why me? I can't even look at this monster face. They say, that's it. That's an order. So he took him and hung him. And then they told him in the last minute, Hagar, you also have to burn his body. Which means you have to take him out of the rope after he's dead and put him in the oven and burn him. So now that was even harder than to hang him. Now you have to pick the dead body of this monster. So Hagar, poor Hagar, he stood on a chair. He hugged Eichmann. He had to pick him up 2 inches to get him out of the rope that is around his neck. And he's face with this monster, cold-blooded face that this monster had. So he did not know, this Yemenite, that when you press on the stomach of a dead body, the last breath, which is full of air that stays inside the body, never went out. Now it gets released, and it makes a horrible noise. So when he pressed on his stomach, he went like this. Oh! And he fell, and he became crazy. That's what happened. He could not function anymore after that incident. 1 year he was in treatment. They told him, Hagar, relax, you made mitzvah machot imchet zecher Amalek. After 1 year he became Baal Tshuva, became tzaddik, and I read what I just told you in his interview. Hagar said, I became religious. I say to myself, Yimach Shimo, this Adolf Eichmann made 1 Baal Tshuva. And there are Jews who are sitting here that not make Baal Tshuva yet. So come on, wake up, wake up.